Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanang Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudira Nashta Prayeshu Padreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, or in text 28, 1-8-28. Queen Kunti Maharani is continuing in her prayers. Manyetam kalamishanam anadi nitanang vipum samang charantang sarvatra bhutanang yanmitah kalehe. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. My Lord, I consider your lordship to be eternal time, the supreme controller, without beginning and end, the all-pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The dissensions between living beings are due to social intercourse. Purport. Kunti Devi knew that Krishna was neither her nephew nor an ordinary family member of her paternal house. She knew perfectly well that Krishna is the primeval Lord who lives in everyone's heart as the supersoul Paramatma. Another name of the Paramatma feature of the Lord is Kala, or eternal time. Eternal time is the witness of all our actions, good and bad, and thus resultant reactions are destined by him. It is no use saying that we do not know why and for what we are suffering. We may forget the misdeed for which we may suffer at this present moment, but we must remember that Paramatma is our constant companion, and therefore he knows everything, past, present, and future. And because the Paramatma feature of Lord Krishna destines all actions and reactions, he is a supreme controller also. Without his sanction, not a blade of grass can move. The living beings are given as much freedom as they deserve, and misuse of that freedom is the cause of suffering. The devotees of the Lord do not misuse their freedom, and therefore they are the good sons of the Lord. Others who misuse freedom are put into miseries destined by the eternal Kala. The Kala offers the conditioned souls both happiness and miseries. It is all predestined by eternal time. As we have miseries uncalled for, so we may have happiness also without being asked, for they are all predestined by Kala. No one is therefore either an enemy or friend of the Lord. Everyone is suffering and enjoying the result of their own destiny. This destiny is made by the living beings in course of social intercourse. Everyone here wants to lord it over the material nature, and thus everyone creates their own destiny under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. He is all-pervading, and therefore he can see everyone's activities. And because the Lord has no beginning or end, he is known also as the eternal time, Kala. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shlakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarane Vanchakalpatarupshascha Kripasantubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. My Lord, I consider your lordship to be eternal time, the supreme controller without beginning and end, the all-pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The dissensions between living beings are due to social intercourse. Jai. So Kunti Maharani is continuing in her prayers. So first, she's been speaking about how he's the property of those who are materially impoverished, who have no sense of connection to this material world, and that he gives himself to those people. And then today's verse, she's speaking about his equality. She's talking about how he is even, equal to everybody. And he is, as the Bhagavad Gita puts it, I'll find the verse for you. It's a nice thing about giving class in front of a computer is you can look up a verse. If you don't know what a verse is, if you know where it is, it's just as good. So in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse 23, Krishna says, Upadrashtanumantacha bharta bhokta maheshvaraha. That in the body, there is another besides ourselves. There is a transcendental enjoyer. Bharta means the master, the supreme enjoyer. Bhokta, Maheshvaraha, the overseer and permitter. So he's overseeing and allowing, permitting everything. And so Kunti is speaking about this quality that you're equal to everyone. So basic fact is Krishna is residing in everyone's heart. And this is actually it's very elementary, but at the same time, it's very revolutionary. Why is it revolutionary? Well, it shouldn't be, but we live in a society that's dominated by the modes of nature. Every ism in the world contradicts this basic truth. Every ism. Sexism, homophobia, racism, all the isms. Because, as Bhagavad Gita explains, everything's in Bhagavad Gita. In the 18th chapter, I believe, yes, Bhagavad Gita, it's understood that knowledge or discrimination, the modes of nature, functions this way. Discrimination and knowledge in the mode of goodness is understanding that in every body, regardless of the variety of body, there is the same quality of soul. And there is the same supreme soul. That's mode of goodness understanding. It can tend towards impersonalism if it's not completely rounded out with understanding that we're a person, Krishna is a person, we're distinct. We actually have a relationship of service. But at least it's this idea that everyone has value, and that value is not determined by the external, it's determined by the internal. This is really kindergarten stuff, right? But we all forget about it at some point or another. We become kind of intoxicated with another idea. And that's given in the next verse. Mode of passion, discrimination, mode of passion knowledge is the knowledge that the idea of every kind of person you see, with every kind of body that there is, there's a different kind of person. In other words, they're all different, determined by material qualities. This person is taller, this person is shorter, right? This person is more attractive, this person is less attractive. Even if that's a subjective thing to different people. This person is more of this or less of that. It's some measurable thing, even from one subjective point of view, and that makes them a different person, right? And so therefore there's my people and there's other people. Now you've introduced duality. Based on material differences, you've introduced duality. Actually, everything in the material world has difference. Everything. Nothing is the same. We're not the same 1 microsecond in the future as we are in the present. Never is there anything the same. On the molecular level, everything's always changing. Everything's always changing. We're growing taller and shorter by the microsecond. Nothing's actually the same. The idea of stability, the idea of like categories that one can belong to is actually illusory. But in the mode of passion, impelled by a sense of wanting to belong or a sense of self-importance, it's some false egoistic thing. We may view the world in this way, and therefore so much trouble is there. And so right away, we're kicking that out. The Lord is equal to everyone. Krishna lives in everyone's heart, right? This is actually revolutionary. Because if he lives in somebody's heart, what right do I have to disrespect them? And of course, it's a rhetorical question. The answer is, of course, I don't have any right. In the same 13th chapter where Krishna said that he's the overseer and the permitter in everybody's heart, he says in verse 29, a very beautiful verse, Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavastitam ishvaram na hinastyatmanatmanam tatoyati parangatim. One who sees that super soul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade themselves by their mind. Thus they approach the transcendental destination. What does this mean? It means that if you see that the same super soul is present in everyone, you don't actually do any offense against others. That's what degrades oneself. If you cause an offense against a living being, you're actually causing an offense against Krishna. How? Because Krishna is living in that body. He has chosen out of his own completely free, sweet will to make that body his home, right? With its living entity resident. And that living entity may have so many faults, but still, Krishna's there, right? That's the supreme spiritual platform. That's where he exists. That's why Kunti Maharani can say, in distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. There's never a person that Krishna doesn't exist in the heart of. Never. It's never happened. Hitler, anybody, insects, bacteria. Krishna's there. He's always there. He's never not there because he's actually all pervading and he's actually completely equal. And that's what the spiritual platform is. And if we're not there, then we're not on the spiritual platform. If we're not actually equal. So that's lesson number one from this verse, that Krishna is actually existing on this platform where there is freedom from all of these isms and all of the wrangling. You know, wrangling? It's a good word. Let's look up the word wrangling. Engagement in a long, complicated dispute or argument. The material world is a world of wrangling. The etymologies, it comes from to Middle English from Proto-Germanic, from the Middle English word wranglen, meaning to contend with someone in a test of strength or to make misleading arguments. Oh, this is gold. Yeah, the material world is a place of contending on in terms of strength and making material misleading arguments. It's this ongoing desire to be the boss and to be in charge and to be a big, big deal. And that's what wrangling is. That's what wrangling is. That's what leads to wrangling, rather. And all of it is based on an illusion, based on the idea that there can be a chosen person. And of course, conveniently, that's always including me. Maybe it's me and my friends, maybe it's me and my family. There's always a chosen one, right? Chosen people, chosen family, chosen bloodline, chosen language, chosen religion. And it's all just like a prop. All that is a prop for the false ego. Krishna is equal to everyone. God is equal to everyone. We're all walking under the same sky. No one's walking under a void. The sky is always there. The sun casts its light and its heat on everybody. The only difference is, do you actually go outside and get the sun on you? That's up to you. And that's the second part of the verse. The second part of the verse, or rather the second part of the purport, Srila Prabhupada focuses on, because he's equal to everybody, the differences that are there are due to our end. Krishna is not like, you be happy and you stub your toe. That's not what he's doing. He's not whimsical. It's actually the worldview is that somebody who actually knows what they're doing and cares about everybody is in control. And based on that, just like I was saying in my previous analogy, the sun is equal. It's casting its rays everywhere. But if one stays inside, they have no one to blame for being dark and cold, right? And so the purport is focusing mainly, the second part of the purport, after talking about how Krishna is equal, Prabhupada focuses on this point that um, nothing happens in spiritual life without responsibility. Nothing actually happens without responsibility. Because Krishna is facilitating everything, all the happiness, all the unhappiness. And because of that, we have some situation, and Prabhupada characterized the mentality of a materialistic person as saying, or thinking, when something good, so-called good happens to them, they say, who needs God? Look how great I am. Look at what I've earned. And when something bad happens to them, they say, how can there be a God? How can someone as wonderful as me have to suffer? And the devotee, even somebody who's like not a great devotee or pure devotee, just somebody who actually has some sense of responsibility and some sense that things are happening for them and not to them, they see it differently. Prabhupada said, when something good happens, they say, look how wonderful Krishna is. I didn't or deserve this. This is Krishna's mercy. And when something tough happens, they say, well, Krishna's very kind. It could have been much worse. And all of that is rooted. It's not just a coping mechanism. right? Sometimes we hear from materialists, oh, spirituality is just a coping mechanism. This is all just a coping mechanism to handle the difficulties of life. No, it's not a coping mechanism. It's actually rooted in the most powerful strategy, the most powerful mentality of radical responsibility. Radical responsibility means I don't blame anybody for the situation I'm in. I accept that I have power. I accept that I have agency. Even if I don't know how to apply it, even if I've misapplied it before, I actually accept that I have agency. And I'm willing to be taught. I'm willing to learn how I can properly use that agency. Even if I don't see the answer now, even if I don't know how to solve this problem, even if it's not under my power, even if it means I have to use that agency to surrender to higher power, I am willing to be led. I'm willing to see how this is happening for me and not to me. And that mentality, if you ask around, that mentality is there and has been there for devotees. And that's why they're here practicing Krishna consciousness, bhakti yoga, chanting, taking association, greedily drinking in the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and Harinam. Because at some point they realize this world is pretty messed up and we're all going through it. And I don't know what's going on, but I'm ready to learn. And that sense of readiness was there. That student mentality was there. That responsibility was there. There's no more finger pointing. There's no more blaming. There's no more isms. There's no more wrangling. No more games. And Krishna's like, oh, here we go. We have fertile ground. And there, the rain comes, the sun comes, and the bhakti creeper can grow, right? The seed is cast. Everything can work nicely there. So that's our job. Our job is to till that soil, get out the hard rocks, make it fertile ground. Krishna drops the seed. It's all his knowledge. He's the potent one. He nourishes it with his association. He gives the devotees. He gives them Mahamantra. All of that is there. But we actually have to work on our own self. If it's stony ground, it won't grow, right? And so that's what Prabhupada is focusing on here in the second part of the purport. Radical responsibility. No one is therefore either an enemy or friend of the Lord. Everyone is suffering and enjoying the result of their own destiny. Everyone here wants to lord it over the material nature, and thus everyone creates their own destiny. That's actually a powerful statement with deep implications. Like, my situation that I'm in now is because I wanted to lord it over the energy of my own maintainer, my own supreme master, my own best friend, and I've been trying to take his energy and make it mine and lord it over as if I'm him. And that's basically why my situation is the way it is, right? And so that's fundamentally true for a conditioned soul. And then that leads into like, okay, there's a necessity to practice bhakti yoga, there's a necessity to reconnect, and there's all that. And there's also this other thing that can happen is that one can start to feel really bad about themselves. It's like, oh, I've been trying to lord it over the material nature. I'm actually kind of diseased. And it's true. It's like, yeah, but you're supposed to kind of have a problem with the disease, but not with a diseased person. And uh, this shadow of the false ego can follow into bhakti yoga, where it's like, okay, I've learned I'm not my body. I've learned I'm not my mind. I'm not these impulses. I'm not these karmic desires. But I'm also trying to connect to higher power. I'm trying to connect to Krishna. He's what it's all about. Yes. And um, it's still kind of about me. How is it still kind of about me? Because instead of it being like, oh, I want to have the honest, red-blooded, down-to-earth attempt to conquer and enjoy this world, the way that so many countless living entities are doing. Instead of doing that, we're not doing that. We're not trying to control and enjoy the world exactly, but we're also saying, look at me. Look how fallen I am. Aren't I pathetic? Krishna may be very powerful, but he's not so powerful that he can actually help me. I'm actually so fallen. We kind of like wallow in self-pity. It's like, oh, there may be so many great, fallen, pathetic persons in the history of time, but I'm the most pathetic. Right? One disciple went to Srila Prabhupada and said, oh, Srila Prabhupada, I'm the most fallen. Prabhupada said, with love, but also firmly, you're not the most anything. You're not the most anything. And that's the thing, is that we can kind of like trap ourselves. And the job affirmation was talking about this again. He's talking about how If you really care about yourself, then you actually have to take Bhakti Yoga seriously. And to the extent that we're not applying ourselves in chanting good japa, to the extent that we're not applying ourselves in our Bhakti Yoga process, it can be a result of not really caring about ourselves as much as we need to. There can be this sense of like, yeah, I want to connect to Krishna, but I kind of don't deserve it. So I kind of just like, maybe I should sabotage myself unconsciously. Maybe it's for everyone else, but not for me. There's this sense of like holding oneself back. And that's actually a disservice. It's a disservice to everybody, not just to ourselves. It's also a disservice to Krishna. After all, he's going out of his way. Remember, we started our class by saying Krishna is residing in everybody's heart. That's not my choice, that's his choice. He's present in everybody's heart. He's equal to everyone. Who am I to say I don't deserve it? I don't have that right anymore. Krishna's already decided I deserve it. Everybody deserves it. So this radical equality has to include ourselves. I'm just as valuable as everyone else. I am completely unique and special, just like everyone else is. And so, because of that, we have to take our bhakti yoga very seriously. And so, that compassion on ourselves, therefore, becomes um, very rich, very present, and is not the kind of thing that's nourished by like low self-esteem, where it's like, oh, I really need your help, Krishna, because I'm actually a loser. It's like, it's Krishna, we're all going through it. I'm going through it. I'm actually completely incapable of solving my own problems. And so is everybody else. Please help me, right? This Bhakti Yoga movement has been characterized by one great devotee as um, going around the world and helping every single person, beginning with myself. Beginning with yourself. So that's the thing, is that you can't actually help anybody else till you've helped yourself, right? You can't push anything in physics unless you're traveling that fast yourself. You actually have to create that force yourself. You can't do it otherwise, right? Now, the difference is that in Bhakti Yoga, we're not doing it ourselves. We're actually like receiving Krishna's energy. But still, you have to receive it. And you have to apply it in your own life. You have to realize it. And to that extent, you can actually help others, right? So um, sometimes we find like people are on a mission to help others, but they don't actually work on helping themselves. And that doesn't work. And sometimes we find that people are like very interested in helping themselves, but they don't actually have an interest in helping others. And that doesn't work. And they're both artificial because what's the difference? How am I more or less important than anybody else? Right? So you actually have to help yourself. It's an imperative. And you have to start with yourself because you're the person closest to yourself. You are yourself. You have to start there. There can't be hypocrisy. There has to be this sense of like, I don't tell somebody what to do that I'm not willing to do myself because then I don't have potency anymore. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said this. He said, I cannot stop talking about the truth. If I stop at any moment, even though it makes me enemies, if I stop at any moment in preaching Krishna consciousness, I become an atheist, he said. How? Because then he said, if I stop preaching this truth, then I become an offender. And I become inimical to Krishna by my attitude. And therefore, I will never stop, even if it makes me unpopular. And so we actually have to have our inside and outside be the same. Even if we're not ready or completely able to practice pure devotional service, we have to embrace it. And we have to be putting ourselves in the circles that this doesn't just apply to everyone else, it also applies to me. All the admonitions, all the strictness, all the love, all the affection, all of it also applies to me. And it also applies to everyone else. So there is this thing of like starting with yourself. And Prabhupada spoke about this. He quotes, I don't even know where it comes from, this statement of God helps those who help themselves. I'm going to look it up because here I am on my computer.
Isn't that from the Bible? Isn't that from the Bible?
Yeah,
Maybe.
probably. Sounds like it. Where does it come from? God helps those who help themselves. The phrase originated in ancient Greece as the gods help those who help themselves. And it's found in Aesop's Fables, later written in English by Algernon Sidney and popularized in the book America, or in America by Benjamin Franklin. Oh, in America by Benjamin Franklin and Poor Richard's Almanac. Okay. All right. God helps those who help themselves. So Prabhupada quotes this. He says, God helps those who help themselves, and helping yourself means putting yourself in front of transcendental sound vibration. God helps those who help themselves, and then he defines helping yourself. Helping yourself means putting yourself in front of transcendental sound vibration, right? This is not independent self-help work. Independent self-help work is different. There's bookshelves and whole bookstores full of that. Devotional Bhakti Yoga self-help work means I'm powerless on my own. I need higher power. And I actually trust, at least the idea that it could possibly be true, that higher power can manifest through transcendental sound. That's real self-help work. And then you put yourself in front of that sound. Okay, you're saying this Maha Mantra is transcendental. Let's try it out. Let's put our whole heart and whole mind, our whole ears into this Maha Mantra. Let's hear it. Let's chant it. Let's hear this Bhagavatam. Let's hear this Bhagavad Gita. Let's hear the devotees. Let's take it into our heart. And that's the process. It's not complicated. Every Acharya in the history of Vaishnavism, in every Sampradaya, has said this. It's not complicated. Very, very simple. You hear steadily, with full attention for a long time. And you go back to Godhead. Because this is what helping yourself means. And everything else you need is provided from that. All the knowledge, all the strength, right? Knowledge means knowing what to do. Strength means the ability to do it. Chant Hare Krishna with love and attention, you'll know what to do. Especially if you're reading Bhagavad Gita and hearing from devotees. And you'll become able and empowered to do it. You'll be able to let go of your habits, your illusions, your ways in which you're still attached to the idea that I can own and control this world. Or the idea that, oh, I can never be saved, I'm too fallen. You'll become free from all of these traps by sincere hearing. That's how real self-help work. And then helping others is just an extension of helping yourself. Because if you actually recognize, hey, Krishna, he's showed up in my heart because he wants to have a relationship with me. He wants to have a relationship with everybody. And then you have unlimited employment opportunities. It's like there's unlimited living entities out there with unlimited ways that they're confused. And if you could find some way to speak to them, to help them, any living entity, any one living entity, help them in their situation to find some sense, make some sense of the idea of, you know what, there is higher power and things are happening for me and not to me. And actually, I have a friend in the Supreme and actually I can connect with them. That's my privilege. And you can give them some sense of that. And you give them the Maha Mantra, you give them transcendental sound vibration. Then you're doing the best work. The same work you continue to do on yourself. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, nobody is ever more dear to me than that person. Nobody's more dear to me than that person. No one ever will be more dear than that person because they're working on themselves and they're helping others to also work on themselves. And also then become empowered to help others to work on others. And in this way, the whole thing goes on because that's Krishna's whole point. That's the whole point of this rigmarole. There's no other point. There's no wrangling necessary. This world isn't about the wrangling. It's just a place for us to recognize Krishna wants us back home. And just to summarize, we're talking about how Krishna wants everybody back home, and he's equal to everyone. He's residing in everybody's heart. And the implication of that is, first of all, that we have to let go of the wrangling and the bickering and the material divisions, because we're all actually equal. Krishna having resided in our hearts without exception. And second of all, it means that we have to actually accept the mercy without excuse and accept responsibility for our own advancement and our own attention, at least, our own presence. Because that's the metric that Prabhupada gives us. God helps those who help themselves. Helping yourself means putting yourself in front of transcendental sound vibration. And if we're not putting ourselves in front of it, either by not being there, not showing up, or showing up and not really giving it our attention, then we have no one else to blame. And it's just a function of our own desire to hold ourselves back. It's just another low self-esteem thing, another material device to excuse ourselves. Like, oh, of course I couldn't advance because I'm not good enough, because I'm just a loser. I'm just whatever we think in our deepest, darkest secret places we may think or fear about ourselves. And Krishna and Prabhupada are saying, let it go. It's just more wrangling. It's just more bickering. It's just more lies. And so if you just accept that Krishna can help anybody, and we receive that he's there in the Maha Mantra and the sound vibration of this transcendental literature, without excuse and without delay, then we can actually make all advancement and help others to do so. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Okay, let's take any reflections on anything you heard? Comments? Questions?
Go ahead, Nancy.
No, thank you so much, Shona Process. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Kishori, and all the assembled devotees. Appreciate this is so heartwarming for me to be sitting here and to have
Mm.
this association. Uh, um, yeah, I'm good with you guys, and I'm good with a lot of the world. And then all of a sudden, I read something political, and I'm not so good. And I
There's
think
division again.
I know, and I think that what I focus on is very important. So if I focus on the transcendental sound, if I focus on what is healthy and good in this world, I have very healthy and good thoughts. But I have to also, in some ways, I'm pushing myself to see Krishna even in Trump, to see Krishna in situations that are troubling to me, so that I can actually
Yeah.
without trying to beat myself up, to be able to um come to a place of equanimity about all this and just say, what's happening here is happening. That in recovery there's a section of the big book that talks about being the conductor, and it's pages 60 to 64, where everything will be fine as long as everybody functions the way I need them to function. And if the lights are in the right position and the dancers are doing their thing and the actors are acting a certain way, I am happy. When in fact I have to realize the conductor is Krishna, that I have to stand back from that and be a participant and act in a way that's healthy and positive, rather than trying to find the differences between um, as this verse says, it's all the me looking at somebody and saying, well, I don't like your skin color, I don't like your gender, what do you mean you're trans, whatever. If I instead see everybody as being, this loving, um, perfectly loved uh, spiritual being as I am, um, it makes the world a lot easier for me to function when something negative, I won't say bad, but negative happens in this world. I'm able to say, okay, so how do I learn from this? What can I do moving forward? How can I make this into a learning experience for myself? And so I really appreciate all these beautiful lessons and realizations. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a highly responsible attitude. And that leads to um, saving yourself a lot of time and energy, because then it prevents you from getting lost in the wrangling. Because all that stuff is the wrangling is really just it's a coping mechanism for not being the supreme controller and being not okay with the fact that I'm not the supreme controller. It's like, what do you mean he manifested in infinite living entities with infinite ways of looking at the universe, all of which are slightly different than mine? That's crazy. It's like we actually think that everyone should think like ourselves. That's like an incredibly violent thought. It's like, well, Krishna seems to have a better idea. He seems to have some better ideas than me in general. So maybe I can accept his logic that reality is better with diversity than without it. Um, and that's that truth that actually Krishna is the wellspring of all living entities, and he's residing in the heart of everybody. Is the fountainhead of real tolerance and real diversity. Otherwise, it's not really tolerance. It's just like I'll put up with it for now, right? You do your thing, I do my thing, you know. But I'll put up with it. I won't aggress against you, and you don't do the same thing. It's not really tolerance. It's not really love, you know. It's like if the person you love turned to you and said like you said I love you, they said I tolerate you, I put up with you. How would you feel? It's like not really love, you know. Real love, there has to be like something deeper. So I appreciate your perspective of like, yeah, let's cut the nonsense here. Let's cut this bogus heinous nonsense that we kind of create divisions. And I get myself in trouble, waste a lot of time. Yeah, it's just all a cover for the false ego. Yeah, there's a nice verse, or not verse, there's a nice quote attributed to Oscar Wilde. Every saint has a past and every sinner has a future, right? Indicating that don't think yourself so special or don't think yourself so helplessly fallen. Either way, we're just passing through and stuff is happening um, in everybody's existence. But ultimately, we're all connected to Krishna. And if you look at that from even like the broader perspective that includes reincarnation and the whole purpose of the material manifestation, then the past and future really stretch. They really stretch beyond a few decades. And it's like, one way or another, Krishna is a perfect moral agent. If someone needs rectification, they're going to get it. I don't have to do that. I'm not going to avoid doing that if it's my service. I'm not going to enable bad behavior. But if it's not my service to fix somebody and correct them, I don't need to. Krishna will absolutely make sure it happens. You know, that's part of the thing of seeing that Krishna is in control is that, you know, I can take care of it, someone else can take care of it, or nobody on the planet can take care of it, but Krishna, one way or another, is going to take care of it. That always happens. He is the perfect moral agent. He's not missing anything. No one's getting swept under the carpet. There's no cover-ups. Krishna lives in everybody's heart. He's observing everything. Yeah, thank you. Any more comments, reflections?
I really loved the how you shared with us the Bhakti movement is a movement of going around the world and helping others by first helping ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and then all you shared around that, and in what bhakti self-care and just like in the spiritual self-care and what that really means and what that looks like and what that doesn't look like and
Mm.
also Mahatma Das's um, japa affirmation spoke to that too and if we really care about ourselves we really will care about our japa and about putting ourselves in front of transcendental sound vibration and hearing like that. And another thing I was thinking about the word or Kala and how Krishna is also time. And I was thinking about how one of like a very common thing that I say or people say is like, I don't have enough time. There's not enough time in the day to do everything I want to do, or there's not enough time. And if I could really think about time in those moments as Krishna, like what am I actually saying there? It's like I don't have enough connection with Krishna, or I don't have enough, time in my relationship with Krishna. Like how that would shift sort of my perspective around the amount of hours that are in the day and the amount of hours I can tend to my lists and my goals and my vision and my service and my japa, all of these things. It's like if I could replace the word time and my concept of it with Krishna, like what that would change for me.
Yeah, it's a powerful thing. So, the first part of what you're saying, like helping everybody, beginning with ourselves, is really important because otherwise, what happens is that any movement or any personal attempt to make the world better will result in hypocrisy eventually. It'll result in hypocrisy as soon as we abandon this principle of helping ourselves, because then the rules don't apply to me anymore. And what we find instead is that our acharyas, who actually are liberated, who actually don't need to follow the rules, they continue to follow the rules for the sake of setting an example. And they don't consider themselves liberated. They function as if they're conditioned souls, like still, chanting their rounds, following the regulative principles, being dharmic, and there's no like instruction they're giving to others that they're not willing and able and actually doing in their own life to apply for themselves. There's no, abuse or exploitation of others. Otherwise, that's what happens. And that's one of the major criticisms people have of spirituality is that it's just another avenue for exploitation. Well, it's like, that's not really a spirituality problem, that's a human problem. But it's definitely incumbent on us. It's really important for us to know what that looks like, to know what the slippery slope looks like. And it begins with I help others, but I don't need to help myself. I'm okay now, right? It's like, that's like a half step from, you know, pocketing something and keeping it for yourself. 'Cause I deserve it. I'm running this thing. The next thing you know, it's like a fiasco. So that's one thing. And the other thing you were saying about, remind me that your second point.
About time, Kala.
Yeah, time. Yeah. So I forget where I read this, but well, one thing I can say is that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the symptoms of bhava are given. Bhava means ecstatic, the beginnings of love for Krishna. It's right before prema, ecstasy, devotional ecstasy. And they're all measurable, actually. Um, and like you can observe them in another person. One of them is avyarta kalatvam, which means a dislike of wasting any time, a strong desire to engage every moment of time in Krishna's service, which is incredibly practical. You see that in advanced devotees. I've never seen an advanced devotee who doesn't have that. Never. They're just like incredibly efficient. They may like pause and like not have be like in alpha go get it done mode. Like they may just be present with you and just have like a long conversation, but they don't waste time. If they're with you, they're with you. They're not like checking their watch, doing something else. Like they're actually present, and everything is for Krishna's service. But what we find is that conditioned souls feel like we don't have enough time because we lose a lot of time in our mind. We lose so much time spacing out. When I first heard that people who were really serious about bhakti yoga chanted 16 rounds, I thought that is literally impossible for me to ever do. It's actually impossible. It's like round peg, square hole, never going to happen. And what I realized from chanting even one round was that by chanting every day, I am given the intelligence to save time and use it more properly. And the reference I'm trying to find, and I can't find it, Prabhupada talks about this, advanced devotees, and maybe in Shastra too, advanced devotees actually undergo this, not even advancing devotees undergo this phenomenon where Krishna informs them in their heart, okay, now do this. All right, now you've done that, now do that. Right? Like when I was a waiter, I remember having to balance like, I've got 5 tables, this one's ordered a drink, that one's got an appetizer ready, this one's got to go back to I've got to go back to the cook and ask for this special thing. There's always like 25 different things going on at the same time. And you have like a list in your head, right? Like a triage system. What's urgent? What has to happen next? And by doing that job, you get the intelligence to know what you have to do next. And that's what makes a good waiter. I wasn't a great waiter, but you know, but in life, all that's coming from Paramatma. It's coming from Krishna. And if you give yourself to his service, he gives you so much in terms of, okay, now do this and do that. And this is how you can make this more efficient. You become very, very smart. And Brahminical thinking, by the way, is the idea of like lazy intelligent. Prabhupada said lazy intelligent means the idea of how can I do something with a minimum of effort. Not like a minimum of effort so that it just becomes shoddy and it's garbage product. That's Shudra. No, how can I have quality product with minimum effort so I can save my maximum time for spiritual activities? And Krishna gives that. That's mode of goodness living. He gives all of that. He helps you become simple so you're not overburdened with all these complicated desires and useless like hankerings and all that stuff just goes away when you chant sincerely. And you become empowered, like even how to organize your day. So this thing of like, I don't have enough time, it's really like I don't have enough Krishna. Here I am, like a pinball being bounced against all the different flippers of the world, thinking like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I don't know what's what. The problem isn't the world, the problem isn't time, it's me. I don't have enough Krishna. If I just was more Krishna conscious, I'd be fine. And that's my experience from varying levels of Krishna consciousness and from observing the completely unruffled demeanor of someone like, you know, Radhanath Swami or Vaisheshika Prabhu or like just even watching Srila Prabhupada move in the world and how much he got done and his complete like transcendence to like any anxiety. It's like it'll work. It's all gonna work. Krishna's in control. Sleeping 3 hours a night. Like how do you even do that? You can't do that at that age and function unless you're completely empowered. Like that's just a function of his deep presence with Krishna that he can actually be that efficient. So it's all working on the basis of Krishna empowering us. It was a really deep observation that it's not a matter of I don't have enough time. It's just I don't have enough Krishna. Shakti Devi Asi.
Thank you.
Thank you for such a beautiful morning. Thank you both for your shares, and also for Nancy. You all said a lot of what I was thinking about this verse, and I th- I think you actually said this, Samya, is they tell you put on your mask first before you put on your child's mask.
Right.
Right. Right. I think you might have even said this in a different uh, time, and that's kind of really the truth. Is like if I want to be be there in an emotional way, in a spiritual way, excuse me, in a way where I want to teach people about Krishna consciousness or about things, I have to first dig in, dive in, get those things, do Bhakti Shastri, do the things that will help me learn. So if I want to share it, I can share it in a way that I'm coming from a place of knowledge. I'm not just whimsically sharing things. And so
Absolutely.
yeah, and I think so. I'm just kind of like literally, really finishing up, but just piggybacking on that. That's something that I've noticed in my own self in this past year, how much I have put aside other things to really work on my sadhana, so that I can offer back to others, because I felt like I wasn't I was trying to do it, but it wasn't working because I wasn't really, learning. I wasn't going deeper. I was too high on the surface, hanging out there, and I needed to get in. And once I did that, or I'm there now, but I'm, little by slowly, I feel like I can really, share and offer, that back up to Krishna. So thank you so much for a beautiful morning.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a deep thing. We all have unlimited permission. It's not, I spoke about this in the last class. It's not selfish to invest in yourself. It's good for everybody. A dead paramedic can't save anybody. And if you think like, I want to make the world a better place, so I want to help, even like I want to help people overcome disease and material suffering. It's like, great, go be a doctor or something, get trained. Don't grab like a scalpel and start performing surgery without going to school. That's just sentimental. You want to help somebody get over their illness, study it deeply, take it really seriously. That's a symptom of people who make a difference. They take their work, their dharma really seriously. It's like if you care about others and you want to help them, great, you're in the right place. We have unlimited education we can offer you, unlimited empowerment, unlimited training, unlimited association, unlimited service opportunities. But first you have to invest in yourself, and that's not selfish. It's like it's like telling a medical student, you're being so selfish, studying all day. Look at you, you're so selfish. It's like they got a plan. They know what they want. They know what it takes to do it without sentimentality, without hypocrisy, without faking anybody out. Anybody can put a piece of paper up on a wall, you know? Anybody can cheat you. That's Kali Yuga. People can offer all kinds of pseudo solutions. But having recognized there's truth in this, if we just imbibe that deeply, we will and we do make everybody around us benefit from it. Krishna shows up. I mean, I've seen that so many times in my life and every other devotee's life I know. It's like it just works. Don't feel like it's selfish or um, inappropriate in any way. It's the best thing you can do. Hare Krishna. Any more reflections, comments, questions?
Yeah, I really love the comment, have a problem with the disease, not the diseased person.
Right.
I think, there's so much hatred and stuff going on in the material world right now. And I don't know, it just makes me think of a time when, I was in a really bad place. I was in a bad marriage, and things were terrible, and I was constantly being attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked. And then, I'm in a corner, and the moment I lash out, lose control of my temper and say something, then I'm the crazy one. So I'm the diseased person. But the disease is the hatred that I was constantly being berated by. And, I joined it because I lost my temper and joined the disease. And it's just the disease right now is all the hatred and the judgment, in my opinion, that's being thrown around. But anyway, I was just thinking about, let's have a problem with the disease, not necessarily the diseased person, or have compassion that
Yeah.
everybody's got that. Like you said, Krishna's in their heart. You may not understand it from your perspective, but it's there.
Yeah. It's actually, it's really notable what happens when people start to depersonalize each other. It's quite nasty. Um, we see, like, at one end in the Mahabharata, in the Battle of Kurukshetra, they would fight all day, the two sides. And at night, they would have dinner together. They would praise each other's glorious activities. And then the next day, they would fight. And on the other end, you have like war crimes. Committing war crimes is something you can do when you depersonalize. These are not humans I'm dealing with. I can do whatever I want to their bodies, their families, I can do anything I want to them because they're not real. They're not actually like me. They don't suffer. They're not valuable, If you depersonalize them, you can do any damn thing you want to them, and it's okay in your head. And so all that happens from the slippery slope of like, well, what if we are different? What if there are better people and worse people? It's a slippery slope of like, well, what if like, yeah, 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 we're all one, but what if like this is better and that's better? It's like, that's all material. Something may be materially better. There are material differences. Some things are materially better and materially worse. Still, Krishna is living in everybody's heart. Still, it's an offense if you aggress against anybody because of that, because Krishna's there. So, from one end, the deep love that bhakti yogis have for everybody, to like, you know, the rape of Nanking and other things that happen, war crimes that are unspeakable, that happen because we actually let ourselves become intoxicated by the idea of material differences and mode of passion vision and material distinction and good people, bad people. And yeah, so really just coming back to like, no, 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 no excuses, no ifs, ands, or buts. We're all God's children, right? And even animals, non-humans, we're all God's children, all here. We all belong to Him. That's very liberating, for sure, and is much needed right now. Okay, well, I feel purified. Thank you so much for your association. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Now let's offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees. They can fulfill the desires of everyone and are full of compassion for all the fallen conditioned souls. Jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasantubhyevcha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Have a great day, everyone. May you see this super soul in everyone, wherever you go.